Anyways, we're back to Comic Studio for now, and before we're gonna begin with this video, I'm probably very sure that the banners has just completely changed and things have just completely got to be changing like just what is just actually kidding to do this as well. And we probably that sometimes that could all things could be able to be changing for now or changing like those for some sort of banners or techniques like those things. We can't browse like for those comics like whatever to do this for the hottest one as well. So even that before we're gonna be trying to do, let's search for Dump Comic Studio as let's just type Dump Comic Studio. That whoever just try to find something like anyways as possible. And before we're gonna be headed out for some sort of a characters, and we have that Cherry's Dump Comic Studios. Some newly dumped comic studios aren't going to be interested for just many more like the Figs Hellhole Comic Studio, the Noah's Stuff Comic Studio, the Cloudy's Dumpster Comic Studio, and where I dump my art like anything as well for some sort of an Angry Birds dump comic studio for the R Brigade character as well. The boxes art dump and the art dump is many more to do this as art dump. The last thing that we're gonna redo as the Cherry's Dump Comic Studio and Fernando's Absolute Dump Studio edits and stuff and many more as Dump Comic Studio as well. So, which is includes for that the recently that I just actually saw for the first time for the Hyperheim's Dump Comic Studio. As we possibly that we're gonna be searching more, that will be more scams than ever to do this as well. So let's get scrolling down quickly as we're not going to be getting scammed by something like this. So we got Rash's Art Dump Comic Studio, and all the way to the top isn't going to be such as one. The next page that we're just actually telling you for just as well, we're being scammed. That the first thing we cannot able to do for the charities random stuff. Nope, I might not sure that we're gonna be doing this for today, especially for the Cherries Dump Comic Studio, and for some sort of that really don't know as well as Hyperheim's Comic Studio. Let's get into Sunny's Dump of Fandom's Comic Studio. So I hopefully that will actually clear for do this as well. So we just done here in Hyperheim's Dump Comic Studio as well, and Cherry's Dump Comic Studio. And except for Lethal Comic Studio as Panes and Lotus Arts Comic Studios or Corner Studios like Panes as well. Let's head in to jump into Sunny's Dump Fandoms that we got here. Sunny's Dump of Fandoms wasn't for one thing. But as you can see here, for starting with characters, all arts and sprites were made by Sunnymon11. And probably to do this what itself. And sometimes Sunny's Dump of Fandoms, I'm not sure. So please use with credits outside of the studio. So that as you can see for the notice, Sunny's Dump of Fandoms is owned by him, that all sprites made by Sunnymon11. And as we're gonna be showing for some spoilers, we cannot using for some sort of a user comics as well for check it out for this thing as well. At the end of this video, we're gonna be link in the description and about for to do this as well. But I just preview to be scammed for this time as well, that I never going to be such as one thing. So let's start with over here from up here as well. So Ginger Ale here is only the moment as well. So nothing is actually going to be driven something was actually for him now as well. So the first one is the creators of this very first OC that he made. It was a male version as well. And AUs and for some sort of like these things. The AUs and the DETs starting with cross-signed cookie or some sort of an old cross-signed cookie as well. And the next character was mustard cookie. And the next character could be for what is that actually this thing as well. So it's not for some sort of a Yakwa village like this thing. And this character from Yakwa village was probably like that as well. The last one goes on to Parfait Cookie, which is actually feels extremely lost or turn into something like that. I just turn on the spoilers. So we got for one eye problem around here for some sort of terrible moment as well. And next one is the Monster Tamer. And we got the CW01, which means this is based off Crunchy Chip Cookie and turns into gold like for somehow to do this. And the next characters could be something a little bit nothing special to do this as well. So we got for something like it's none other than non-casualties or something. The next one isn't going to be for such as original characters. That must be William Afton, which means almond cookie. It was based it off. And then licorice cookie was it actually like for some sort of for the Five Nights at Freddy's means like to do this as well. Not these Big Brothers or something. The father was William Afton, which means is aka Purple Guy. And the last kind of those to do this as well is actually not the main characters as well. And many more OCs that all of the arts, this is his arts that we got anything as well. And especially that's actually going for something like a little bit worse to do this as well. His arts was actually a little bit good as well. It was a little bit good as well. And we got multiple arts that we have possible to do this. I never seen in this in YouTube or for something like else. And I got like anyways to do for oh dear, that must be a lot for some sort of a good images like a childhood. And for 3 more images like those things, there must be something like a hugging around here. And the last one is Ginger Brave. And this guy got killed by someone else. Or just something like it's actually going to be. Moving on to the next category. Let's go for props or items. So we got for many things. And the next thing that is not props or items. So that could be memes. Is really possible. For only 2 pages that we have anything is left. And the next one is the comic effects. Was actually for some sort of invisibility like those things. So I'm about to add it for some sort of faces as well. So before that doesn't really go into actually run pretty ads to do this as well. Especially for non-faced Cookie Run characters like here for something. And the backgrounds could be always Cookie Run like itself. Except these I really know that we just actually found for some sort of rooms as well. And not complete as dark rooms is really possible. So, nothing is actually outside of the suburban as well. And looks like we're gonna be added for round for this one, I guess. And not any more of those things, which is eventually added for those things as well. So, am I gonna be added for one character around here? So, even for just a moment, it was actually not similar to Ezekiel, and it wasn't going to be for such as only one reason to do this. So, the fact is that we're gonna be using for the studio crossover that I just never recently to do this for something like anything or else, as we're gonna be trying to scroll down. I don't really think that Sonic Comic Studio was being abandoned for whatsoever as well. So that changed to Revolt for itself for the Halloween, and I cannot believe it that Sonic the Hedgehog Comic Studio was probably being disappeared or just changed as well. Sonic the Hedgehog's Comic Studio that is actually going to do this as well by Sonic, for one thing, is as old as well. So we're not gonna be doing for him anymore as much as we do. We're gonna be headed down to Cozy Cafe Comic Studio that is actually going to do this for some sort of cozy as well. Even for to do this is for different words. So when actually it's not gonna be absolutely to do is to recently try to add themselves for many more characters like their males and females or like themselves. So I won't be able to be doing this for right now as well. So I'll be right back for today's video until I won't be able to be getting done as well as fast as possible that I just recently added for some Hot Wheels automobiles. We tried to take a look for this entire thing as well, and it's full of many memes and not for such as damaged motorcycle as well, and includes a lot of them. So what about for submitted sprites? Is it not going to be up here as according to the characters as well? So even though you know it is that we're going to be using submitted sprites to do this, so there is nothing is actually going to be user submitted sprites a lot, so that doesn't going to be making any sense. So well, let's just see the results that we just absolutely came to missing around here. So we got a icicle as well. That's not the same as some sort of a hat, or really for some sort of Kenny's hat as well. So let me see what the again is actually going to get. Scroll down. Let's see once again. Nope, that's not Kenny's hat as well. Or something is actually, it's not the hat for some kind of this or something as well. So we just move up as well, and we can see we added faces, and we add for the Yakwa villager around for the Chrysler 300, and this is not my stepmother from over here. And eventually we added 2 Hot Wheels cars, that one Jaguar F-type have, or the X-type or some sort of a type is going on and being pulled over by a police. And one thing it was a police car to do this that is bringing to pull you over and being ticketed and shouldn't able to come back home easily. So that is some sort of a main characters as well. As we looked at, we just added 2 sprites from a cozy vacation array for just to do this as well. So nothing is absolutely going to be seen for around here. If we're going to be seeing for some sort of legs or hips as well, that wasn't going to be for you like those things as well. Or being somebody is going to be looking for her to do this with him, by the way. And I guess this is not a husband and a wife, or my wife as well. So we're checking around for the drafts as well. And finally, that should be come to a halt of this video as well. So I'm probably sure that we're going to be import for one video as we put in a 2006 Chevrolet Impala. So I'm not sure that we're going to be trying to get rid of those things, but you can do anything you want as well. So I'm probably that I have a genius idea from me to do this as well. So we're gonna be added for some sort of, for the one reason to do this, that were recently added for some backgrounds as well. So it is free to move up and down or slide left and right. So I'm never gonna be believing with you as well that we're just putting up him into a streets that we put in him as possible, and most likely the Chevrolet Impala was gone. Like, anyways, that was all for today's About video, and for Sunny's Dump of Fandom's comic studio for all of the quirks and features about here. And if you just try to know something like a little bit quickly, and the link is going to be in the description below. Thanks for watching and for all your support, and don't forget the main website is going to be linked below, as we're going to be trying to do so. Like, anyways, this is Turbo Concept is signing off, and I'll talk to you mini lads and comic studio users all later, until for one more video to go, and that's it.